Welcome back to another Through the Leadership Lens, a podcast presented by the Women Propane Council, where bold voices, big ideas, and brilliant guests in the propane industry take center stage. I am Freddie Ridler, and we're diving deep into leadership that inspires, empowers, and transforms. And now joining me in the studio is my incredible host, the one and only Jessica Balderston.
Thanks, Freddie. Today we're joined by Summer Leon, Vice President of Operations at the Western Propane Gas Association. In her role, she helps lead operational initiatives that support industry education, safety programs, and engagement with members across the WPGA. Today we're excited to chat with her about leadership, building strong organizations, and what it takes to support an industry that's always evolving. Summer, we like to kick things off with a question that tends to get a lot of different answers depending on who we ask. And that question is, what does leadership mean to you, and how has your perspective on it changed over the years?
Leadership is a team sport. That's the first thing that comes to mind when you say leadership. It's not a single person. It's a team of people. WPGA staff. We are a team. We all bring something to the table. And the right team, can empower you, can help you all reach your goals. And at the end of that, you have someone to share that with, the achievement that you've made. So it makes it sweeter to just have a group of folks that share in that. And that's, with the association as well as this industry, we all strive for somewhat the same goals. So it's nice when we reach those goals that we can celebrate together. As far as how it's changed, I've been fortunate enough to sort of have people lead that share the same goals as I do, and the same sorts of styles. But from what I hear, you have to keep in mind, I've been with this association since I was 18. So what I've heard from others outside of the association and their experiences is that leadership used to be an individual accomplishment, not a team. It was about telling people what to do, not asking how they might do it or asking for suggestions, just telling. And I think, and you see that in TV and movies as well. You see back in the day, you just told people what to do and they hopped to it rather than having a conversation about it.
Yeah. And you talk about achievements, which can equivalent to like skills, right? Sometimes leadership changes with just skills. And you talked about, the me, the you, let's get this done. And a lot of that has changed. And there's a younger generation that's also coming up in the industry, the Young Professional Council alongside the Women Propane. And you see that it's a lot more people networking off of each other. You don't see so many leaders that are just kind of walking around, right? You see groups of people, and then you kind of work your way into that group, and you kind of find out who is the ringleader in the group, and that's kind of how we met you, and said we want to have you on this podcast. So Jess and I, throughout this podcast, we're going to throw 2 questions at you each, and we'll do this for about 3 or 4 or 5 rounds, see how much time we have. And we kind of like to have a little bit of a fun question, and then we'll get back to a serious question. So my fun question to kind of follow up with some of this is, since we're talking about skills and achievements and things like that have changed, what's the most unexpected skill that you've had to develop in the propane industry?
Unexpected skill. Oh gosh, I can't really.
Answering questions on a podcast that I didn't
Yeah.
unexpectedly know what the
Yeah.
question was.
Yeah. I mean, skills that come to mind aren't necessarily unexpected.
Sure.
You know, if how do I put this? Learning to adapt and respond to different personalities within the industry.
That's big.
Yes.
If that is a skill,
That is
that
a
is a
skill.
skill. You
Hmm.
have to be
Yes.
adaptable just because, I mean, look at right now for just the women in propane, right? Before the women in propane, there wasn't a whole lot of women in propane, and for everyone else, they're adapting with the difference in culture and the people that are coming up. So I would say yes. That's a great answer. And to follow up with that, what's the best leadership advice that you maybe first ignored, but then later on thought this is something I need to continue to do?
Honestly, it sounds simple, but just to be open to others' ideas and opinions. Don't be so quick to shut an idea down, because I think we have all done that, and maybe still do, maybe more so in my personal life with than my professional life. But when you go back and think on it, things start to make sense, or you play it out in your head. So I think really just being the ability to be open.
That's amazing advice. And I even think of it as being open, but also asking the questions. Because sometimes I do this myself. It's like, I think I know what they're saying. So then I make that assumption and close it down. But if you ask the questions, you're like, nope, that's not what they were talking about. I was completely wrong on that one.
Exactly, exactly.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. My fun question is, what's the very first thing you do on a normal work day when you get in?
I don't have to really set anything up because I make sure that before I leave the day before, everything is in its place, including like my black pen and my red pen and my yellow highlighter and my
I'm
little
jealous.
my little finger thing to go through all my papers. It's all sitting in the exact same spots when I walk in. It's so nice. Um,
So you're not a tornado as you leave the office for the
I'm
day?
not. No, I really try
This
not
is
to
how
be.
I am.
Yeah, and honestly, I'll even surprise myself. Sometimes I'll leave the office for a few days and I come back and I'm like, "Oh wow, I forgot I kind of cleaned up even a little bit more than I would have." It's such a
Oh,
pleasant surprise. I like a clean environment, a tidy
thank you.
environment.
Yeah. Thank you,
Yeah.
my past self, for cleaning.
Yeah.
So just settle in, answer emails, go through
Yeah.
my to-dos for the
Hmm.
day. I make lots of lists.
Yes,
I'm a
Hmm.
list
list
person.
person. Yes,
So you're a list person. Do you ever do this? Do you write something down that you've already done just so you can cross it off your list?
I do.
Yeah. Yep.
Guilty.
Same here. I love lists.
Totally. I like to be able to highlight it. Done.
Yep. Yes. Oh, that's amazing. So you mentioned earlier in the podcast that you have been with the WPGA since you were 18 years old.
That's correct.
So what made you stick with your job for so many years? Like, what about your job do you absolutely love that you have been doing it for so long?
I love the people. This industry is amazing. It's multi-generational. Coming in at 18, we had members that I was growing up with their children. They sort of adopted me. I still have folks to this day that call me kiddo. I'm 45 years old. I have grown children, and they still refer to me as kiddo, which I love. I'll always be, 18 to them. But really, it's been the people. I mean, I've been Colin is my fourth exec now, so that brings in, you know, every time a new exec comes in, you never know what's going to happen. Will I have a job? Will they bring in their own folks? Like, how does that work? And thankfully, they have all been amazing, uh, and so that's made it easy. But really, it's collectively, it's the people, it's the folks in the industry, our members, my team here at WPGA. It's been amazing.
Yeah, and we asked a question early on in the podcast. What has changed, and then we also asked like, what skills did you have to learn? Well, look what we just went through. 4 different state execs. That changed. What did you have to do? What was a skill? Adaptability, right? You had to adapt to new people. Isn't it crazy? Like it's hard to like almost look back and say, what have I learned, right? Unless people ask you. And that's kind of like, you and I were exchanging and Jess were exchanging emails, and you're like, it's really hard to talk about yourself. And it is extremely hard to talk about your own self. But that's why we do this podcast, is then we could dive in, take that out, because it's not normal conversations you have with other people. So when they log on and watch the podcast, it's like, I didn't know that about your career in the propane industry, and wow, did you have to adapt through different directors, and also, you went through COVID. That had to be something fun and challenging when you were in person so long, and then the world shut down. So it's fun to hear when you get asked these questions, and it's almost like the imposter syndrome of like, I don't know what I had to learn. But then when you start talking, it's like, oh yeah, look at the things I went through and I picked up. For those who don't know much about the Western Propane Gas Association and the show that you host in Portland this year, why don't you use this time to kind of talk about your role and what is it and why they should engage in it?
So my role, as I believe at one time, all the titles that I've held over 27 years. I think I was a convention director at one point, a membership director, convention director. I really take the overall ideas of our convention committee and put them into action. Um, we've been in Reno. My first trade show was in 1999 in Las Vegas. And that was the one and only time in my tenure that we've been to Vegas. After that, we moved to Reno, which is now the GSR, the Grand Sierra Resort. So that was in 2000, followed by the Silver Legacy in 2001. And that was our home until just a couple of years ago when we folks wanted to venture out. So we did leave Reno. We went to Palm Springs. There are some that love Palm Springs and love the heat and all of that, and there are many others who don't care for that. Yes. So we back in Reno after that for it's been another 2 years. We are a co-sponsored trade show. So we have the Arizona Association, Nevada, Rocky Mountain, and Pacific associations. So we really want to try to move around and incorporate their folks, not just have everyone, continue to come to Reno, like find another spot that can accommodate everyone, that works, that everyone's comfortable with, works well for attendees and exhibitors alike. So Portland was chosen. It was selected 3 years ago. So this has been 3 years in the making. It's really coming together. We only have a couple months. I will say, just like anything, with being in Reno for so long and working with this, the same group of people at the same venue, it is nice because everyone knows what they're doing. And yes, we have certainly shaken up the show in the last couple of years just by introducing some new opportunities for folks to get together and interact and things like that. So all of these years trying to make it a new show, not just the same old show that people are coming to. You want to give them a reason to continue to come back. So that part has been exciting. And then so there are, some, I wouldn't say I'm uneasy about Portland at all. It's just we haven't hosted an event here. So I've made sure that everyone knows what's going on over there, that they're in tune with our show and our expectations, and they've all been excellent to work with. So anyone coming to Portland, I think you're going to have a great time. Please, please, please come and see the show that we've put together. Obviously, it's not just me. We have an entire committee. We have other staff. Everybody comes together, and there's going to be some great speakers. So we'll have some seminars and some sessions. We'll have some fun activities outside of the trade show floor. There are several receptions that are being hosted by sponsors. So they're going to be a blast. Portland has become, I had not gone to Portland until 3 years ago when we did a site tour. I've been back several times since. I really, really like the city. Reminds me of Sacramento, which is where I am. Yeah, it's a great city. There's just a lot to offer. So I really hope that folks come out. If you have any doubts, just come out and give it a shot. I mean, it's 1 year, just give it a shot, see what we can offer you. And it's more so about what's great about our industry is that folks, yes, they come to the show to, exhibit and show attendees their new products and services. And then the attendees come to obviously see those products and services. But it's more like every year, it's like a family reunion. They want to come to see each other because sometimes they only see each other at our trade show. And so it's fabulous. It's this industry is just one big family. And it's the one time where, at a reception, you will see, you know, industry rivals all come together.
Mm-hmm.
And it's
Yeah.
fabulous.
Isn't that amazing?
It is. So I think it's going to be a great show. Um, it's a great venue. I mean, all of it's great.
Yeah.
I
I
feel
am
like I
just
haven't touched
amazed.
on quite enough.
No, you did awesome. I want to go. Like that
I
is
know.
Please,
amazing. And you
I
make
wish
it so
you could.
exciting.
I really wish you could.
What surprises most people, you said that it takes 3 years to plan something like this. Like, I can't imagine the amount of work it goes into putting on a show like you guys do. And it's so much fun, and I'm so excited to hear about it, how it goes in Portland.
It takes time. For 3 years, I haven't necessarily been planning every detail, but it absolutely does take some time. And yes, and what happens is you begin to plan it out. You plan it out in your head when you're there, but then you go look at another location. Like we'll be back in Reno next year, which is great. And I know that show, but then coming up with new, fresh ideas for Reno to get people to continue to come back. So then January 2026, you think, oh, wow, we have a show in Portland in a few months. And now this is when really the details of focusing on this show take place. Um, and it's a lot of work, but it's also extremely rewarding when, it all comes together and you see people there and everybody's having a good time. It's really an accomplishment, as I said, of our committee, of our staff, of everyone involved.
Okay, I feel really bad for my next question because you are so passionate about your job, and I can just hear in the voice how much you love working in this industry and how much passion you have.
What?
My question is,
Uh-oh.
if you weren't in this industry, what would your job be?
Oh, actually, that's an easy answer. So I have always wanted to be an event planner. I have talked about, if I were to have a second career, that's what it would be. I would open an event services business. My family is always utilizing my skills. They always are asking me to host certain things or, what have you. So, or asking for advice if someone else is doing something. So I always have my hand in planning, event planning.
That makes so much sense. I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your brain is so much more organized than my entire life.
It makes total sense why she organizes before she leaves at the end of the day, too.
Gosh.
Yeah. So when I was taking business courses years ago, every essay I had to write or every business plan, it was always for, my potential future business. So it made it really easy. So I have an entire plan laid out if I ever decide to go that route.
Summer, your official title is VP of Operations. And usually when I think of operational leadership, I always think of that happens behind the scenes, but all of that work kind of drives everything forward. So how do you approach leading teams and keeping those complex initiatives moving forward in the association environment where you're behind the scenes, but you need to push everything forward?
I think for me, the areas that I work on behind the scenes, because we have committees, things that happen with, membership dues and communications and the trade show, those all have committees. So anything I'm working on behind the scenes, I'm updating that committee. And then when we have meetings, we're discussing how to move all of that forward. So it's really just a natural occurrence. It's all set forth. We work on it here in the office, and then it goes to the committee, and then it goes to the board, and then it goes to the association. So it's all a flow.
When you love your job as much as you do, and I'm hoping this is a true statement, which I'm pretty sure it is, because look at you smile right now, it does kind of naturally just flow, doesn't it? Like you kind of so Nancy and I at RCC, we plan our annual summer camp as well. And everything you said was like I heard in the mirror when I look at myself saying, why do I do the things we do? And same with Nancy. And but it's easy to do it because everyone's like, isn't it so much work? But it's like, yeah, but when you have so much fun doing it, and as you were telling your whole story, I was messaging Jess going, look how she's just like glowing right now. She loves what she's doing, but like it's just so easy. It's so natural, and being the VP of operations, like you are the ones kind of on paper making this happen, but then you said it the day of the show, you look around and people are talking, they're educating, they're presenting, they're exhibiting, the marketers are learning, and you're like, you had a piece in all of that, right down to the carpet, right? The strands of carpet that you're standing on. And that's amazing. And you're right, it takes an entire team.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
and I'm guessing you'd rather stand on a podium thanking everybody than just thanking yourself.
Oh, absolutely. It's
Mm-hmm.
it's I one person cannot do it all.
Yeah.
It takes everyone. Everyone,
And
absolutely.
all kinds.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes.
Well, cool. I have one more fun question and one more serious question, and then I'll give it over to Jess to finish up hers as well. So my fun question is, it's about meetings. Do you love them or do you just survive them?
I love meetings.
Not
More so
surprised.
more so in person than say online via
Hmm.
Zoom, because I truly appreciate our members, and any face to face I can have with them. I'm always so excited to see like who's registering for the meeting, who's RSVP'd, who's going to be there, because it's exciting. It's catching up with friends. Some people I've known almost 30 years. Um, so I enjoy them. There's obviously the work that goes into planning meetings behind the scenes, but I enjoy them.
What's one thing you hope as marketers or independent propane marketers are leaving your show that you put so much time into with your team and as that leader that's kind of organizing all of it? What's one thing that you want them to leave that encourage you to keep doing it year after year?
If I'm being honest, I hope that they've had a great time and they can't wait until the following year
That's
to
perfect. That's a
see.
Yes.
great
I
answer.
mean, right? That's what I'm hoping for.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Is that they've learned something, they've made a connection with someone, they're better for being there, their business is more productive for being there, and they're looking forward to what we put on next year.
Okay, my last question is somebody's attending the WPGA for the very first time. What would your advice be to them?
Well, we can't say that it's the WPGA, it's the Western Convention. We do have co-sponsors. The Western Trade Show or Western Convention. As a first timer, what would I tell a first timer? I would tell them, and I found this helpful when I attend trade shows, walk the trade show floor, talk to everybody, whether, it could be a company that you really don't, I don't want to say don't have interest in, but doesn't serve your purpose for being there. Talk to them, walk up to them, talk to them. They're there. Just walk the floor, talk to everybody. You never know what kind of connection you're going to make. You never know what kind of connection you're going to make. And a conversation with a person you didn't expect could lead you elsewhere. Um, and so I feel I have a better appreciation for exhibitors having been a part of this show for so long, because when you see an exhibitor standing there and they might not have heavy traffic at the time, I always make it a point to go speak to them, to learn about their services, because even if it doesn't suit me, it may suit someone else that I know. I might be able to make a connection there. So I have a much greater respect for exhibitors. I make sure no matter how big the show, and I attend some very large shows, I make sure I walk that floor, I talk to everybody, and just see what you can take from it. Hopefully you take something away from our show. And I'm available. I'm always available should you have questions.
Thank you, Summer, for joining us today and for sharing your leadership journey and insights. We really appreciate your perspective on leading through change, building strong relationships, and supporting the industry that plays such an important role. So thanks, Summer, for joining us on our podcast.
Thank you for having me.
And really quick, how can they get more information about the show?
They can visit westernpga.org or they can email summer@westernpga.org.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Summer. And that's a wrap on this episode of Through the Leadership Lens, a podcast proudly presented by the Women Propane Council.
If you enjoyed today's conversation, don't forget to subscribe, download, and share it with a friend or colleague.
And if you want to learn more about Women in Propane, connect with us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram,
or visit us online at www.womeninpropane.org.
I'm Freddie Ridler.
And I'm Jessica Balderston. Thanks for listening.
And keep leading with purpose and vision.